Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you this article in The Hill, and it basically foreshadows exactly what's going to take place. The Senate trial is just a show. It's just a formality. It's to make senators feel good about themselves, both left and right, so Republican and Democrat. The Republicans under Mitch McConnell, thank God, are going to acquit President Trump. He did nothing wrong. He has every right as president to withhold military assistance for any reason he wants, pertaining to potential corruption of the country he's sending the money to, which is exactly what Joe Biden said, his defense for forcing out a prosecutor in another country. They said, well, why did you force out the prosecutor that just happened to be looking into into the corporation that funneled around $3.4 million by some estimates to your son? He said, well, it was the corruption. It was the corruption, don't you know? Everyone said that prosecutor should have been let go. Well, in the audio or in the when he's on record as boasting and bragging on the video of the Council on Foreign Relations where he said, oh yeah, you're not going to get the $1.2 billion in loan guarantees or $1 billion in loan guarantees unless you force that prosecutor out. The Ukrainian officials pushed back and they said, you have no authority. They said, you do not have the authority. And he then said, Biden will call the president. The president's going to back me up. Well, did President Obama state that he was going to back up Biden, that he told Biden to fire that prosecutor? No. President Obama never stated that. Biden, for all we know, could be making it up. The conflict of interest there warrants any investigation. That's a fact. If the conflicts of interest existed in those parameters with President Trump, you better believe if they're going after him for withholding military assistance for a certain time period without direct evidence that he withheld the assistance because of the election, because he's afraid of the No Malarkey bus tour. No direct evidence, in the articles of impeachment, according to the Washington Post, do not list a crime, and Democrats are okay with that. So there's no direct evidence he even withheld military assistance because he was trying to interfere in the election, and there's no criminal statute that the articles of impeachment are linked to. You better believe that if there was a conflict of interest like the one Biden and his son have, they would have investigated themselves. Plus, the DNC did reach out to the Ukraine. Plus, which is the most important thing, President Zelensky and Poroshenko both state there was no quid pro quo, no leverage. They were never strong-armed into investigating the Bidens. And furthermore, the Burisma has already been investigated and being investigated by Ukraine. But here, The Hill, McConnell makes case for Trump acquittal ahead of trial. Pelosi finally gave the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Okay? One of the House managers is Adam Schiff, which is hilarious because he already met with the intelligence operative. He met with the intelligence operative, this intelligence operative never blew the whistle on anything. They call him that, but he's really an operative. Worked under Brennan and also worked for Biden. The whole thing links back to Democrats, as it always does. But here, McConnell makes case for Trump acquittal ahead of trial January 15, 2020 by Jordan Carney. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Wednesday ripped House Democrats and made the case for the upper chamber acquitting President Trump as he waits for the articles of impeachment to be transmitted. So this was earlier today. Apparently she's already transmitted the articles from what I've read. McConnell, speaking from the Senate floor, did not directly call for senators to vote to acquit Trump, but argued that senators cannot follow the House's lead and agreed that the president deserved to be But argued that senators cannot follow the House's lead and agreed that president deserved to be removed. So they can't agree with the House on removal. Speaker Pelosi and the House have taken our nation down a dangerous road. If the Senate blesses this unprecedented and dangerous House process by agreeing that an incomplete case and a subjective basis are enough to impeach a president, we will almost guarantee the impeachment of every future president. President Obama could have been impeached based on the hot mic where he says, look, I'll have a lot more leeway. Please tell Vladimir to lay low until after the election. I'll have more leeway. He literally interfered in the 2012 election. It's on the hot mic. I've done a segment on that. Nobody cared because it was President Obama. It was a Democrat. We can go on forever. President Obama, Bush, other presidents have withheld military assistance or ended military assistance, and you can scrutinize any decision and connect dots with any decision. You need direct evidence. So with Democrats, the actual quid pro quo, where money flows into the Clinton Foundation, beneficial treatment takes place, they say, well, it's already been investigated. John Huber investigated. No, he didn't. It's never been investigated, ever. Southern District of New York never issued subpoenas, got people on campaign finance violations. The Clinton campaign purchased a Steele dossier. That's help from foreign countries. The MI6 official is a foreign national. Joseph Mifsud is a foreign national. Ambassador Downer, Dumbo Downer, is a foreign national. Okay, Democrats worked with foreigners all the time. They chose to get help from other countries to undermine and get dirt on Trump. The Steele dossier was completely not only riddled with inaccuracies, it was nonsense, it was a fantasy, it was completely debunked, and it was garbage. They say it was raw intelligence, it was raw refuse. And 17 different times, Kevin Kleinsmith, the FBI agent, and other FBI lawyer and other officials deceived FISA judges. So they set up and framed Trump after covering up Clinton's endless crimes regarding servers with top secret intelligence. Clinton had servers with top secret intelligence sent and received on them, along with special access program intelligence, along with 2,000 plus classified emails on servers running on Microsoft Exchange software. Even ARS Technica, a great tech publication, says that it was running on Microsoft Exchange software, and that it was, according to Fortune and Forbes, her servers were unencrypted for 3 months. Even in Comey's book, which I was thinking of buying and then reading, but then I thought, like, why would I even do that? It's a waste of time. But I was at the bookstore, looked at the book. He even admitted, which is what Politico broke this story on. She used an AT&T email address for the first 2 months as Secretary of State. That's not encrypted. Wasn't encrypted. Then she had servers that were unencrypted, connected to her email address that the whole planet knew. That even Robert Gates and former defense secretary under President Obama, Robert Gates, and Michael Hayden stated the whole planet almost certainly hacked into. Even James Comey said, well, we think hostile actors hacked into it, but we're not sure. Well, of course they did. But it's the Democratic Party. Everything is relative. So then they get from anonymous sources from the New York Times, oh, well, Trump gave the Russians classified information. Everything he says is classified, number one. Number two, there's no evidence. It's an unknown source. Okay? So there's no evidence, but you have evidence of top secret intel on Clinton servers. But again, they're going to get Trump on what they think happened without any direct evidence. So you have direct evidence with Clinton committing crimes. The fact that top secret intelligence existed on her servers, how she migrated that information is a crime unto itself. You can't do that. You just can't do that. And so anyway, he added the House impeachment inquiry was kind of anti-democratic recall measure that the Founding Fathers explicitly did not want. McConnell's comments come after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi named the House impeachment managers on Wednesday, today. The House is scheduled to vote later Wednesday to formally appoint the managers who will make the House's case during the Senate trial and transmit the articles to the Senate. So technically, they haven't transmitted the articles yet, but they will. It'll happen today. Whatever. It's all nonsense anyway. Senators are expected to be sworn in this week, with the trial getting underway as soon as next Tuesday, when the chamber will debate a rules resolution. And it'll be without witnesses initially, which will be hilarious because Democrats, for them to get their witnesses, Republicans will want Hunter Biden, Joe, and Shifty Schiff. Okay, if they don't get those witnesses, Democrats won't get theirs. So it'll be very hilarious when Democrats are like, you know what, forget the witnesses, because they're not going to want to allow Hunter to testify, which he's at the center, the epicenter of all of this, the basis for all of this, is not Trump. It's Hunter Biden. The notion that he doesn't deserve to be investigated is nonsense. It's not about nepotism. So when people you see like Hollywood celebrities say, oh, well, nepotism, it's not about nepotism. Just like it wasn't about emails with Clinton. Not about nepotism. I'm okay with nepotism. I am. Happens on both sides, and if you can hook up your family, great. I'm okay with nepotism. What I'm not okay with is having the vice president fire a prosecutor of another country for his son's personal gain. We don't know if that happened or didn't happen. So you see journalists, oh my God, there's no evidence it happened. Well, based on the circumstantial evidence, it certainly looks like that. Just like with it's closer to that taking place with the circumstantial evidence between Hunter and Joe and Shokin and Burisma than it is Trump looking into the future a year saying, oh, Biden's my direct political rival. I want to investigate him because it'll help me. Trump's going to win. Everyone knows this. Clinton is going to be nominee. They are certainly not going with Bernie. They're certainly not going with Warren. And they're certainly not going with Joe Biden. Okay? Bernie Sanders' campaign is essentially done. Elizabeth Warren lied. Almost certainly lied. Bent the truth, fabricated the truth, did exactly what Bernie and everyone else did to Trump. So when you play that game, you're going to lose at that game. If the game is called gossip, you will always lose. Okay? In Hebrew, it's called lashon hara. It's evil talk. Okay? That's like the thing, like it's like one of the biggest sins in Judeo-Christian culture is gossip. In every culture, gossip is the worst. Hearsay is the worst because you are spreading what could be, what almost certainly is always, distortion of the truth or overt lies. And so when Bernie Sanders said, oh, how dare you accuse me of that? But you accused Trump of saying both sides, even though he didn't. He never said, nor did he mean, that there were fine people who were tiki torch people. He was talking about conservatives who wanted to keep up statutes, not the tiki torch, racists. So, but to them, you said tiki torch. You said both sides. You said both sides. You said both sides. And then when I was on Twitter, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I tried to point this out, and I said he didn't. It was like, oh my God, what side are you on? Oh. And they've just like stewed in their own juices of contempt. But anyway, this November is going to be fantastic. It is going to be the most widely watched time. YouTube is going to be just electric. Be on this channel and H.A. Goodman's other channel. By the way, I've had some great segments on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check that out today. So, but ladies and gentlemen, but to my 13-minute crowd, I'm actually pretty proud and happy. Today's the first day I signed up for Jujitsu. So I'm sure that's going to be fantastic, and I'm very, very happy. And it's never too late. So I'm not a spring chicken, but never too late. So I suggest if you're interested in it, sign up for it. And my first class is tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to years and years and years and years of some awesome, awesome training. But anyway, if you're my 13-minute crowd, that's a little something about me. But anyway, McConnell's comments. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi named House impeachment managers on Wednesday. The House is scheduled to vote later Wednesday. Okay, so senators are expected to be sworn in this week with the trial getting underway as soon as Tuesday. 67 votes needed to convict Trump. Ain't going to happen. Even if Democrats own the House, there wouldn't be 67 votes because you wouldn't get the 15 Republicans needed. That would never happen. You wouldn't even get, there's not even 4 Republicans. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2. Give me your thoughts below. It is 100% he's going to get acquitted. He's not going to get removed. And he's going to get acquitted. And this will be an embarrassment. They'll be mortified again, Democrats. Somehow, mark my words, they'll spin this into a victory. Somehow, the average American will say, okay, Trump won again. They have nothing. Meanwhile, interestingly enough, Trump is actually investigated. And all of these process crimes, look at all these people indicted. Nobody was ever even interviewed on Clinton's, whether it was the email server, especially not. Nobody was interviewed. They didn't interview anyone. And the a couple of people they interviewed with the Clinton email probe actually lied. And they didn't charge those people. So the whole thing is once Trump wins again, it's game, set, match over for all the people that got away with a whole bunch of things. Just because at the end of the day, intelligence operatives, intelligence community, slithers towards political influence and power. They're like serpents that slither towards, shade and what's good for them. Don't get in bed. That's why I say don't have friends or don't get in bed, literally or figuratively, with people who are duplicitous and disingenuous and who can hurt you. Because at the end of the day, they will. The intelligence community is not somebody, it's not, these are run by people who are purely political creatures. That's it. And for my 15-minute crowd, I say, I don't usually say this, but Bernie Sanders is a political entity, a political creature. He's not interested in any revolution. He's not interested in any I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I made a clear-cut case and 100 articles plus that went viral in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon. You know who rocks the boat? Trump. You know who elevated 5 million people out of poverty, lifted them out of poverty with his economy? Trump. Poverty rate decreased from 12.7% to 11.3% under Trump. Okay. And that was 2018 numbers. It's probably a lot lower. And there's probably more than just 5 million people out of poverty. 43 million people were in poverty in 2016. There's now 38 million people as of 2018. 2019 figures will probably be less than that. So as of now, I'll just say conservatively 5 million people lifted out of poverty. If Bernie Sanders did that, they would say, oh my God, look what he's done for the working class and for poor people. With Trump, they say, oh my God, he's this and that. President Trump signed the First Step Act, criminal justice reform legislation. President Trump was the first president to step foot in North Korea, begin détente between North and South Korea. There's no concept, no grasp of history. That is an amazing achievement. Nobody thought that was possible. Trump did it. It was a beautiful sight to see. Moon Jae-in, president of South Korea, and Kim Jong-un of North Korea embrace and shake hands. It was something that you never imagined. But it happened under Trump. Does he get credit? Absolutely not. People say it's a photo op. Then they say, oh my God, he's starting war with Iran. Oh, that didn't happen. Now did it? That didn't happen. Now did it? No, it didn't. Still, people then say, you know what? In about a year and a half or so, definitely after he wins election, Iran will sign a deal with Trump, and it'll be a better nuclear deal. Where military sites are now being investigated, and they don't get to launch and test 23 ballistic missiles, which is what they did, which is what President Obama's deal allowed them to do, which is absurd. They're going to acquit President Trump, and this is going to be another loss. And I will be the only person, and I don't mind tooting my own horn. I don't mind, patting myself on the back. I don't mind it. I'll tell you why. I took the heat in 2015 for saying that Clinton would lose. She lost. I was 100% right. I'm telling you Clinton's going to be nominee. I'm telling you that the way I think about the Democratic Party, first of all, I set like a trend. Like now people are talking the way I talked in 2015. When Clinton runs again, they'll be again speaking as if they always knew. Nobody even thinks that now. Because Madam Secretary has been quiet for like 2 weeks. So they're like, oh, she doesn't want to run anymore. It's not going to be Biden. So process of elimination. Bernie Sanders, he said that women couldn't become president. Actually, he didn't say that. You know what happened is Warren lied about it and fabricated the quote. But guess what? They do that tactic against Trump. So now Bernie, look, you're talking about Bernie Sanders, who the billionaire class, there's 2 billionaires who are running in the Democratic primary. He didn't do anything to scare any billionaire class. Bernie Sanders has become part of the same system he claims to go up against. In fact, without Bernie, Bernie could have very simply just withdrawn, and that system would have crumbled on its own. Bernie Sanders could have said, yeah, you cheated me, and just want to let you know that. You should reform. Not the Russians. Even if he believed Russia hacked the DNC, he could have been like, well, they didn't write the emails. But he's part of the same system. Believe me, the Democratic Party is not afraid of Bernie or anyone on the left, because Bernie and everyone on the left will vote for Clinton again. Watch what happens. There's only Biden now. because Warren took out Bernie. It didn't take much to take out Bernie. If Elizabeth Warren is there only to harm Bernie Sanders, and she's done a fantastic job. They asked her, what's your Medicare for All plan? She's like, I don't know. And they haven't even passed it in the House. But anyway, give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. You know what? I might upload one of my old HA2A segments that you might like. Pretty awesome one when I went to Vegas. So check it out. Check it out. You'll like it. M249, H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check it out right now. Thank you so very much.